Okay, first thing we need to start with is a photo of you somewhere cool. If you can't be somewhere with a cool background, then stay tuned for the second half of this video because I'll show you how to put a photo of you into a cool background that you take off of, say, the Creative Commons. So I'm going to take this photo of myself kayaking at Canyon Lake, and I used the object selection tool first to make a selection of myself in the kayak and the oar, and it did a pretty good job, but I had to clean it up a little bit, so I used the polygonal lasso tool and did the add to and subtract from selection to make sure that I could clean it up so that it was pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is go to the select menu, and I'm going to choose save selection, and I am going to call this me in kayak, and I'm going to hit OK. Now, the reason I want to save it is because there's always a chance that you accidentally deselect and can't get it back, or need to make that selection again for some other reason. So I always get in the habit of doing that when you've spent time making a selection. With it selected, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control J to put this on a new layer. Okay, and if you look at it, you can see it. There it is. And of course, guess what happened? Yes, lost my selection. So I am going to go back and load my selection. Me in kayak, click OK, there I am. And I'm going to hide that new layer I made, and I'm going to go back to the original, and I am going to go to Edit, Fill, Content Aware Fill. All right, and so what this does is it actually, and you can see by the green, this is trying to guess what you're going to fill in that space. So I'm trying to get rid of me, and you'll notice that there's a little bit of a reflection in the water, okay? And I don't want that to be part of what's there, at least as best as possible. I also don't want this area over here to possibly be part of the selection, so got rid of that little thing. And I think that did a pretty good job. I think I'm okay now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and that pretty much fills whatever is there. Okay. Now, it's not perfect because there's quite a bit of stuff going on around me. Okay. So what I need to do now is I'm going to use my clone stamp tool, which is this one. And when I use the clone stamp, I am going to hold down the Alt key to sample a source area. So here is a source. I click, and now as I go over, you can see the crosshair following my mouse, and so you can see where it's copying from, and all I'm trying to do is go around the edge. Now, I was very strategic in where I initially placed that crosshair, but when I come up here, I'm gonna resample, okay? Because now I'm going up, and I want it to keep choosing a good area. Oops, that maybe wasn't the best place. I'm gonna go straight across. Okay, and I'm going to choose up here again and kind of clean that up. I'm going to come up here and clean this up, and I got it pretty close, so I can probably go, oops, there you go. So I'm going to continue working on this, and I'm probably going to fast forward through here so you don't have to sit and watch all of my cloning. And now I cleaned up some of that reflection in there as well. Okay, so I did a pretty decent job. It doesn't have to be perfect because you are going to turn this back on. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and create a new document, and we're going to make it 1920 pixels, not inches, pixels by 1080. And I'm going to keep my pixels per inch at 300, and I'm going to hit create. Then I'm going to come over here and I am going to convert both of these into smart objects. I have to do it separately. If I do it at the same time, it converts them into one smart object. And if I select both, remember I can click and then shift click or control click, and I'm going to duplicate the layers into that new Untitled 1 document that I just created. So now I'm coming over here, and if I zoom out a little bit, and with those both still selected, I can Control T, and I can see that they're too big for the background, which is okay. That's the way it actually should be right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and some of you may need to shrink your photos a little bit, and then just get them positioned properly on your new document, on your new canvas. Okay? So then we want to open up our timeline. And the timeline has two different options here. I want you to notice that if you hold down that little arrow, you have a create frame animation and you have a create video timeline. We are going to create video timeline. So I actually had to click that button after choosing it. And it shows me the two layers that I had selected here on the timeline. Now, if I expand the layers, you're going to see that you have the ability to set keyframes for transform, so that's size, opacity, that's whether it's see-through or not, and your style. And you have that on both layers, so they're both controlled separately. Okay, so what I want to do is hit the keyframe for transform. That puts a starting point for this image. And then I'm going to drag the playhead to the very end. And I don't need to do anything else other than I want to Control T so that I can make this a little bit smaller. Now, I want to try to keep this in the same place. And so if I drug it right now, see how it kind of moves to the side? I don't like that. So I'm going to hold down my Alt key while I drag, and notice that it makes it smaller on all sides. So it keeps it more or less in the center, right? And then I'm going to check it to apply, and you can see a subtle shrinking of size. Okay? So then I'm going to collapse that layer and go to layer 2. I'm going to put my playhead at the beginning and hit transform. And then I'm going to go to the end. And on this background layer, what I want is to make it a bit bigger. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to expand it like that. And then I can hit the play button, and I can see it shrink and grow, and I maybe shrunk me on the kayak a little too much. So I can go back to that layer, hold the Alt key and make it just a little bit bigger, not too much, and try it again. And there it is. Okay, and that is called the 2.5D Parallax. There are lots of ways to do this, but that's a pretty easy way right there. You'll want to make sure that you save this as a Photoshop file so that you can come back later and edit it if you needed to. So your last name, and we'll just say 2.5D, we don't want to put an extra dot there, Parallax, there we go, and make that a Photoshop file. Then, in order to make this a video, and it is a video because we're on the timeline, we're going to go to File and Export, and we're going to do Render Video. And this is what's going to pop up. This is the name. It automatically names it what you had the Photoshop file, and it's automatically going to, I think it's automatically going to save it where you were saving it. We want to make this H.264, the format. We want the preset. We're going to go ahead and choose the YouTube HD 1080 2997. And everything else you are going to keep default and hit render. And it's going to go through the process. You'll see the timeline here. And now it is done. And so I will go and find it on my messy desktop. And there it is. Okay, so it kind of makes it look like there is some movement in there.